Greetings from beautiful Yogyakarta in Indonesia. Today I and my wife are going to the Sultan Palace, where we will see the exhibition dedicated to the queens of this city. In the old eras on the territory of Java and Yogyakarta as well, there were many different feudals, kings, sultans, and all those noble families exist until nowadays. That's why they have a lot of queens.
As we approach the Sultan's palace, the air is filled with the aroma of street food and the chatter of vendors. It's heartening to see that local authorities allow these small businesses to thrive alongside major tourist attractions. This coexistence not only supports the local economy but also preserves the vibrant tapestry of daily life, even if some might view the styles as lacking in aesthetic appeal. Stepping into the outer courtyard, there is a palpable sense of calm. Visitors lounge on benches, leisurely awaiting the opening of the ticket counters.
The ticket locket is not opened yet, but people are already staying on the line. That tree was planted since the first Sultan, but they didn't write about the year on the board. The palace here is not like in Europe, because a European palace is usually just one building or one castle, but here they have many buildings and parts that are not connected between each other, so we have to walk a lot.
The atmosphere here contrasts sharply with the often solemn and imposing aura of Western palaces, where dark tones and grandiose art can feel overwhelming.
They have the rules to visit the palace, and if you want to go inside, you must wear specific clothes. You cannot also wear hats, glasses, slippers, shorts. And this one is interesting. It says that you cannot wear specific batik with the specific pattern, so be careful as well.
An intriguing aspect of Javanese culture is the significance of batik patterns. Certain motifs are reserved exclusively for the royal family and palace staff. Wearing these specific patterns without proper status can be seen as a breach of tradition. It's a subtle reminder of the deep-rooted respect for hierarchy and heritage in Indonesian society.
As in every country, in Indonesia, every noble family has its own symbol, and behind me you can see the symbol of the Yogyakarta's kingdom.
Upon entering the inner courtyard, I am greeted by traditional Javanese structures with soaring roofs and open sides, known as pendopo. These architectural designs aren't just aesthetically pleasing. They are ingeniously crafted to facilitate airflow, keeping interiors cool even during the hottest days, a testament to the wisdom of ancient Indonesian builders. Flanking the entrance are statues wielding weapons, standing as silent sentinels. Their origins are shrouded in mystery. Perhaps they represent ancient Javanese deities or mythological figures from a time before monotheistic beliefs took hold.
In front of the gates there are two statues of the guardians that maybe used to be gods long time ago. I'm not sure about it. Before many Indonesians converted to monotheism, to Islam in the around 14th or 15th century, they was pagans, and many of their legends from the old pagan eras are still exist. They just changed some characters. For example, if some characters used to be gods, now there are just mighty creatures, jinns or superheroes. If you are going to Indonesian museums or palaces, it is always better to bring your cell phone, because in many areas professional cameras are not allowed.
Today, I am fortunate to witness a traditional gamelan performance within the palace grounds. These performances, held regularly, feature musicians playing intricate melodies on traditional instruments, creating a serene and meditative ambience. As the musicians enter the pendopo, they do so on their knees, a gesture of deep respect towards the Sultan and the traditions upheld within these walls. It's a poignant reminder of the cultural emphasis on humility and reverence. The gamelan's melodies are gentle and flowing, reminiscent of the natural rhythms of Indonesia's lush landscapes. Unlike the vigorous and brisk tempos found in the music of colder regions, which mirror the urgency of survival in harsh climates, gamelan embodies a harmonious coexistence with nature. It's as if the music teaches us to move with grace and awareness, much like navigating through dense jungles where every step requires mindfulness. This philosophy extends beyond music to dance and attire. Traditional Indonesian dances are characterized by fluid, deliberate movements, emphasizing inner tranquility over overt expression. Similarly, the vibrant colors and intricate designs of traditional clothing reflect the rich biodiversity of the region, contrasting with the subdued tones often found in traditional European garments. After the performance, we head into the next courtyard. Near the gate, I spot a curious statue of an old Indonesian man sitting on the ground in a sarung. This section of the palace opens up even more, with white pavilions and shaded gazebos. The space feels airy and free, though full of visitors from all over the world.
There are a lot of buildings around, and behind me is the biggest one that is using usually for special guests and ceremonies.
That is the house of the king, and the king is still live there. Here stands the Sultan's private residence. Access is restricted, of course. I have no idea what the interior looks like, but the exterior is modest, a minimalist structure in pale white and soft peach, blending in quietly with the surrounding aesthetic.
We cannot go there, but from here we can see they have a lot of European things, European furniture, because of course they contacted a lot with the Dutch people, with the Dutch colonial administration, and they shared a lot of different cultural things.
One particularly fascinating detail: all palace servants and royal subjects must remain barefoot at all times. Tourists are allowed to wear shoes, but staff must not, a strict rule based on ancient tradition. Even more peculiar is the rule regarding photography. You are forbidden to shoot the Sultan's subjects in the background of your photos, say while taking a selfie, but you can shoot them directly as the main subject of your photos. I don't entirely understand the logic, but rules are rules, and as guests we respect the house we enter.
In another courtyard there is the entrance to the exhibition.
We move on a temporary exhibition pavilion, the Princess Exhibition, curated by Princess and Queen. It has a feminist message, but don't miss it by Western expectations. Feminism here has a different tone, more conservative, sometimes religious, grounded in community and harmony rather than rebellion. It doesn't deny nature, nor the distinction between men and women. I personally subscribe to a worldview one might call conservative elitism, that only the most worthy and brave should lead the society. But I am intrigued by how feminism evolves differently across cultures, especially here, in Asia. The exhibition is divided into rooms, each with texts and displays telling the stories of Indonesian women, their impact on politics, culture and society. Some panels are devoted to specific princes, noblewomen or female warriors.
And here is another room. We see clothes with weapons. We observe traditional Javanese weapon here, a bow, a keris, which is an Indonesian dagger, and a spear.
The keris, as I read in history books, wasn't a battlefield weapon, it was ceremonial, worn daily for defense or duels. It is a weapon of honor, not of war, similar to the European rapier, which, by the way, wasn't used for actual warfare either. The exhibition also features relics from the royal household, finely carved musical instruments, ornate jewelry boxes, and other decorative objects. Not everything is original though. That golden key over there? Probably plastic. Maybe they're afraid of thieves. The most fascinating part for me was the old black and white photos, portraits of the past sultans and royal family members. In the final room we see real garments worn by the queen. Every piece is handmade. Every batik dyed and painted by hand, down to the smallest details. The level of craftsmanship is astonishing. Unfortunately, not all dresses were allowed to be filmed. The princess doesn't want their patterns copied, so I could only capture a small portion. Believe me, there were far more intricate pieces on display. And that concludes the Princess of Yogyakarta exhibition. To be honest, it was rather small. We walked through it in just 20 minutes, even though we tried to read everything we could. We stepped out into the courtyard again. It felt cool and peaceful, even with the presence of tourists. We decided to take a short walk through it. We were just about to leave the palace grounds when I noticed an open door. While we was walking in the area of the palace, we found another room that is dedicated to the Indonesian ceremonies and rituals. Behind, it turned out to be a museum. You might not believe it, but in terms of exhibits, it was even more interesting than the temporary exhibition. Mostly, here are clothes and accessories that was used for royal weddings. That is the kebaya that was used by the princess for her wedding. Traditional garments of old Javanese nobility, wedding costumes and ceremonial jewelry. Each piece carried a weight of history. I came across a white strip of batik cloth with a complex, precise pattern. It was less a textile and more a painting, a true work of craftsmanship, something that, I imagine, must carry a very high price. Traditional Javanese attire struck me as deeply surreal, alien even, not just in how it looks, but in how it feels, its symbols, logic and rituals. It extends on everything in Indonesia, homes, people, ways of thinking. The entire rhythm of life here feels different.
We decided to try traditional street Indonesian ice cream.
Yeah, strawberry.
Strawberry.
Lihat ini.
The price is very cheap, only 5,000 IDR.
They call it like cut ice cream because they cut the ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like from long ice cream like this and they cut it. So that's why they call it like chop ice cream. They chop it.
I like the taste, but
Try durian.
no, I don't like durian. Never. But it is super sweet. Like super sweet. But the taste is good.
Indonesia reminds me of a fantasy world. Crowded streets, wooden carts, unfamiliar architecture, things that may seem strange at first, even illogical, but gradually reveal a deep, ancient coherence. A quiet uniqueness you will not find elsewhere. This is a place where a particular aesthetic emerges from the calm of the Asian worldview, the clarity of Islamic rationality, and a long-standing openness toward other people and cultures.